eased out any tension in our shoulders. And just perhaps thinking about our neck, moving the head very carefully side to side, forwards. And as you do that, just noticing where there are any tight spots in the neck. And then coming to sitting up nice and tall. We'll take our arms out to the sides and up, and really reach up with our fingertips and looking up at those thumbs. And then on an exhale, listen to your breath again. As you breathe out, you bring those thumbs to the breastbone, looking down at your fingers. Let's do that again. Deep breath in as you take the arms out and up. A bit of lift in the rib cage as we look up at those thumbs, but still keeping the hips nice and grounded. And then exhale and bringing those hands down in front of the chest. So really follow your breath, your pattern of breath, rather than copying this exactly as I'm doing it. Listen to how long that inhale is, moving with it, and how long that exhale is, just making corresponding movement with the arms, with the hands, and closing it in here. Just notice how it feels having the palms of the hands together here, just balancing the two sides of the body, of the brain. As we have the fingers and thumbs lined up, just relax the shoulders back and down once again. Okay. So let's from here take a twist. It doesn't matter how you have your legs. You might even want to think right now about just adjusting the hips and maybe changing slightly how you've got the legs. But we're going to turn to the right, and we'll take our left hand onto the right leg, and we'll take our right hand behind us. And I'm just doing it the other way so that you can, I'm mirroring you so that it'll make it easier just to follow here. So just rotating your ribs, your chest around to the right. And again, imagine a thread connected to the crown of your head, and think about sitting nice and tall. So the crown of the head is lifting up, the neck is nice and long, the spine is lengthening and lifting. At the same time, we're keeping the shoulders broad and just twisting to the side. Just come to where you can. If you're sitting in a chair, you could be bringing this hand onto the seat or onto the arm of the chair or the back of the chair. Gradually just take your gaze over towards the space behind you or just over your shoulder. Again, take a really deep breath in and lengthen, grow a bit taller, and then let's sigh it back out through the mouth. And maybe you can even twist slightly more on the exhale, and then just release that on the inhale. So you come back slightly, and inhale, focus on sitting as tall as you can. Exhale, focus on twisting. And then release, just gently coming back to the center. Let's move those shoulders again. Let's just move the head very gently, just to continue releasing any tension in the neck. Sitting tall once again, feeling grounded in the hips. Just relaxing the muscles in the legs. We feel really nice and yes, grounded here. And at the same time, maintaining a feeling of lift in the upper body, the ribs, the chest. Is that feeling of just lifting and lightness. Let's take our twist the other way now. So we'll bring our right arm across in front of the chest. That hand comes onto the left leg. Stretch out your left arm, take that hand behind you, just kind of sweeping it all the way around behind you. Make sure if you're sitting on the floor, you're doing this version, you might be sitting on a cushion, or you might just be sitting on a mat or a folded blanket or something like that. Make sure the hand isn't too far away from you. If that hand is quite far away from you, then you're going to be leaning back, and we don't want to be leaning back with this one. We want to still have that long spine. So the fingertips could be here, just reasonably close to the back of the body, or you could be placing the palm of the hand there. You could even be making a fist and just putting the knuckles down there behind you. Okay, so just let's take our twist on this side. Take a really deep breath in, lift and lengthen. Exhale, rotating around. And for you, if there's stiffness there, it might be that you're not going very far, and that's absolutely fine. Just remember that this is your yoga practice. You're not copying exactly what someone else is doing. You're focusing on keeping that breath nice and smooth and on observing what there is to observe, and taking note of that and acting on that, responding to that. So just come, it might just be a little way that you're coming. It might be when you try this tomorrow or next week that you come a little bit further. One day compared to another day, it can feel completely different. And it might feel different on one side than the other side. So just come to where you can. Gently, gently, just encouraging that shoulder to roll back. Take a deep breath in again, focus on lengthening. Feel that possibility, perhaps, of growing taller, and exhale, twisting. So just simply make those the emphases here. Each time you breathe in, you might just release that extra bit of twist and focus on growing taller. And then as you breathe out, you're just adding a little bit more twist to the sides, keeping the chest open. Try and keep the shoulders as broad as you can. And then we'll just release that and come back. We come back to the center again. Okay, great. Now, let's take our arms out to the sides again, palms facing up. Reaching up as tall as you can. Imagine blue sky up there, palms together, and bring your hands to your heart once again. Okay, let's take a side stretch here. So once more, you could perhaps readjust. Maybe you bring the hands onto the floor, if you're sitting on the floor, and lift the hips up, actually lift up and sit back down again. And just checking on your lower back and your hips and making sure you feel as comfortable as you can. Planting your either fingertips or the left hand down on the floor. Think of this hand being in line with your hips. Think of where your hips are aligned, and there's a line going out to the sides, and we're using that line. Placing the hand there. Inhale and reach up with your right arm. Think of a line, a lovely stretch right from your hip all the way up the side of the ribs, the armpit to the arm, to the heel of the hand, right up to the fingers at the top there, right up to the sky. On an exhale, next time you breathe out, take it over into a side stretch. And again, come to where you can, where it feels right. It might just be here. It might be a bit further. It might be you can come further again, and maybe you even slide this left hand out a bit more to the side. But try to just think of keeping both sides of the hips grounded, and aiming to have this arm so it stays sort of in line with the ear. It's not dropping forward. If it starts to drop forward, we're maybe rounding the chest a little bit. We want to keep this chest open and the arm in line with the ear. On an inhale, each time you breathe in, just kind of a little bit of bounce up again, and then breathing out, come to that maximum side stretch, whatever that is for you, wherever that is for you. And then again, on an inhale, we're going to just sweep that arm up, reaching as tall as we can at the top of that inhale, and then as we breathe out, we float the arm back down again. So we're taking our time. We're not rushing immediately from one side to the other. We're establishing that center, that central axis in the middle as well. Let's swap sides. So again, start off with your hands or your fingertips in line with your hips. Inhale, reach up with the left, as tall as you can, really, so that you can feel the stretch at the side of the waist, the side of the ribs. On the next exhale, as you breathe out, start to move into your side stretch and just exploring where that's going to be, where that maximum point is going to be for you. Just going to reposition myself a little bit so that you can see. There we go. And just again, just stay here for a few breaths so that each time you breathe in, you just come slightly out of it, and each time you breathe out, you use that exhale to come back into wherever is the maximum stretch for you. This hand might stay where it was right at the beginning. You're not necessarily going to move it out a bit further, but just see where you can go with that. Remembering we want to keep those hips glued to the floor. Again, on an inhale, take a deep breath in to sweep the arm back up, fingertips pointing up towards the sky as you come to the top of that breath. And then as you breathe out, we float the arm back down again. Let's just do that. I did that quite slowly because I wanted to tell you lots of detail. Let's just do one side and the other side, just not quite so slowly. So just coming back to the first side. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, come over. Stay with your breath. And maybe just a little bounce up on the inhale. Exhale, stretching. Inhale, come up to the top again. Exhale, release the arm back down, and we'll swap sides. So inhale, reach up, other side. Exhale, come over. Lovely stretch all the way up that side of the ribs. Again, inhale, just a little bounce up. Exhale, coming into it once more. Inhale, reach up to the sky. And exhale, release the arm all the way back down again. Good. Let's move those shoulders once again. And after all that twisting and side stretching, we'll simply just come forwards into a lovely forwards fold. You can keep your legs however they are. I'm going to choose to just change for this and stretch my legs out. Inhale, reach up. Lift your heart. Exhale, just moving forwards. Think of your lower ribs moving forwards over your thighs. And again, I'm coming quite far down towards my shins, but for you, I'm just going to come into that again. It might be that with your flexibility, with how you're feeling today, that you just bring your hands onto your thighs, or you could even bring your hands onto the floor, either side of those legs. But focus on lengthening the front of the body, lengthening the back of the body again. And again, you could come in and out of this. It's quite nice just noticing how the transition feels. Inhale, reach up, open. Exhale, move forwards. And focus on moving forwards with your chest, moving forwards with your heart, rather than focusing on where your hands are going. In fact, maybe even we don't place the hands to start with. We just move the chest forwards. And then we just let the hands just arrive somewhere, on the legs, on the floor, wherever. Make sure your neck is in line with the rest of the spine, and that the shoulders and the neck have got some space in there. They're comfortable. Maybe we move them a little bit. Sigh out a breath, and let's sigh out 3 breaths. Deep breath in through the nose, and maybe we just lift slightly, just like we were doing with that side stretch. In fact, lift slightly with the inhale. On your exhale, focus on moving forwards again and sigh the breath out through your mouth. Noticing the possibilities here. Perhaps you notice there's a bit of release in the lower back while we do this. This can be so lovely. Just doing that again, wherever you come to. Maybe you even walk the hands back a little bit as you inhale. Feel the expansion in the ribs. And let that lift you slightly, and then exhale, moving forwards to wherever is your maximum forwards fold. Sighing out the breath, and then just returning to breathing in and out through the nose, and just slowly walking those hands back once again. Okay, let's do one more thing here. I'm just going to show you actually I'll stay sitting here. Cow and cat. So actually let's just have a look at the various different ways we can do this. If you're sitting in a chair, perhaps you could bring your hands on your lap. So cow and cat go together, arching and rounding. Inhale, bring your chest forwards, lift your chin and roll your shoulders back, so you can really feel your lengthening the front of the body. On an exhale, as you breathe out, you can slide your hands forwards, perhaps chin to chest. Pull that belly button in, really pull the tummy in, and maybe you can just tilt the hips forwards. So we're lengthening and rounding the spine. Inhale, so one just flows into the other. Cow, and then our cat. Think of how a cat stretches. And you can, when you see a cat doing this, they do both of these. They're really stretching out their spine. And they relish that stretch, don't they? So just think of that idea. If you're even when you're doing the sitting version, you can tilt the hips one way and then the other way. So try to incorporate that little bit of the tilt. So as you exhale and round, you're tilting the pelvis forwards. So the belly button's coming in and we're tilting the pelvis forwards. As we inhale and scoop the chest forwards and up, we're bringing length into the front of the body, and we're tilting the pelvis back to help to do that. Okay, so our cow and cat, we could add to this by, let's bring the hands in front, interlace the fingers. Next time you round, push the palms forwards. Inhale, and we'll take our arms behind us, emphasizing opening the chest. You can just kind of clasp one hand with the other. And again, exhale, push forwards. So this is just a lovely, really lovely stretch that I think doing it every day is amazing. It's so good for our spine, and it's just calming the nervous system when we work in this way of connecting movement and breath. So that's the seated version. Just going to show you hands and knees. Exactly the same idea. Same idea, but we're just coming to hands and knees. Our wrists are underneath our shoulders. Our knees are underneath the hips. So if you think of where the hip joints are, that's where the knees are placed in line with those. Wrists underneath the shoulders. Spreading your fingers, middle fingers pointing forwards. Middle fingers are kind of in line with the shoulders, ideally. But if your shoulders feel a bit tight here, maybe you just roll the shoulders back and down. It might help also just to very slightly turn the fingers out, or take the hands slightly wider. There. Inhaling, arching. Lift the head, relax the belly, lifting the tailbone. Exhale, we're rounding. We're pushing the floor away. Chin to chest, pull the tummy in, drop the tailbone down. As much length as we can find in the back of the body, and then as much length as we can find in the front of the body as we come into arch. So just that tilt of the hips again. And let's just take this back from here. We're going to just sit back. And we're going to come to Balasana, child's pose, which is a lovely restorative pose. We simply sit back, bringing the hips towards the heels. If you find that you're sitting back, but your hips are not actually coming to the heels, then grab a cushion or a folded blanket, and you can place that there so that you're sitting onto that cushion. That's just quite a nice idea. But we come back, we bring our arms alongside the legs. And ideally, the top of the forehead is coming onto the floor. We want that forehead to be resting on something so it's supported. Just let the shoulders relax completely. So again, if you find that you're here and your forehead's not coming onto the floor, a block, a cushion. So again, I could use my cushion here to bring my forehead onto. Or I could even just choose to, instead of having the arms alongside the legs, I could bring my hands in front, and either one hand, just one palm on top of the back of the other hand, or make fists, one fist on top of the other, and then I can rest my forehead there. So lots of different ways to adapt to just vary child's pose. But when you come here, close your eyes and relax your shoulders as much as you can, and sigh out a couple of breaths out through the mouth, then coming back to breathing in and out through the nose. Just quietly digesting the effects of those few stretches and those twists. And then when you're ready, but only when you're ready, this can be such a lovely restorative posture that sometimes when we get into our child's pose, we want to just stay there a little bit longer. It's like being in a warm bath or something. We want to make the most of it. When you're ready, use your hands to help you to gently, and please come up slowly, gradually, slowly, coming all the way back up again. And then let's just come to sitting, whichever is your most comfortable sitting position. And bring our palms together. Inhale and just bring the hands in front of the face. Exhale, lower them back down again. Thinking about our heart center. Let's just do that again. Deep breath in. Sitting tall, and just bring perhaps the thumbs, maybe the thumbs come up to the forehead. As you exhale, just lowering the hands back down across, down past the face, the mouth, and down to our heart center. We're going to do that once more. This time we're going to take the hands a little bit higher. Inhale, so that the heels of the hands come just in line with the crown of the head. Exhale, lowering back down. And make a connection for yourself with your breath. You might want to play with that a little bit more and repeat that once more, just thinking on the next inhale, your thumbs are going to come to the forehead. And then on an exhale, they're going to come down to the chest level again. So we're really tuning in with that breath again. And then a really deep breath in again. We're just going to repeat this, going higher. And exhale all the way back down again. So do make use of this video, and just as a reminder of some simple stretches, or perhaps an introduction if you are new to yoga. But come back to it, play with it. Maybe you just pick one stretch. Let's take our arms out to the sides. Inhale, reach out and up. Think of gathering up energy and then drawing it down. Bring your palms together, drawing it down for your well-being, bringing that energy to your heart center. And I'll see you soon.